just in terms of our own kind of surface level understanding, am I understanding this correctly in terms of the phases of the female cycle where the winter is kind of like the menstrual phase, then in the spring you have the follicular phase, then in the
Correct. Yep.
summer ovulatory, and then fall is the luteal?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
That is correct.
So if you're a woman and you're listening to this, it's kind of like Lexi is giving you an amazing permission to not be put into this box that society wants to put you in and say, hey, show up every day the same and whatever, punch the clock or do your workout or whatever these expectations are. You're going through these waves, and Lexi is giving you permission to own that and figure out how to tap into that. And for the guys out there, just understand that, understand how to be a better partner, be a better friend, and be able to support someone that's going through this. So males do, I guess, if we want to say traditional, whatever males, they do go through this phase with the moon, but they're less affected by it than a female, or um, are men just simpler creatures, but we still have this, we're still in this relationship with the lunar cycle.
So, I mean, it depends because there are some men who menstruate and there are some men who have really high levels of estrogen who don't menstruate. There's some, people identify as men who are intersex who kind of, there's all different types of things that may happen. But what I will say for people who, primarily have male um, biomarkers in their bodies, that you're not going to have who are not having a menstrual cycle, you're not going to have as tangible of a visual representation of what your internal infradian rhythm is going to look like, and it's not going to be as strong. Um, so you will be a lot more capable of showing up at similar energy levels every day, but you're more going to be more affected by the cycles of the sun. So
Hmm.
the like the solar seasons, so like the winter versus summer seasons of the year, right, are going to be more affected. But there is like a more in reality, there you have more durability as far as energy goes, more consistency because testosterone is going to vary a little bit less. It peaks in the morning and descends throughout the day. So your day cycle is going to be more affected. So there's also cycles and rhythms to tap in to look in there. But the infradian rhythm is affected. So to say that it's not at all wouldn't be accurate, but to say as much as somebody who's menstruating is also not accurate, right? Like but there are some people who are, AMABs that I know who have really high estrogen levels, who have XXY chromosomes, who do experience a really strong infradian cycle. So I just will put that caveat in there. But um, generally, the the testosterone will be similar every day. So even the need for sleep is going to be less, right? So all of the sleep studies that say we need an average of 8 hours of sleep per night, that's all done on male bodies, right? So people who menstruate generally need 9 to 10 hours of sleep to be fully rested. And during menstruation, I usually recommend like 10 to 12 hours. Like I definitely need 10 to 12 hours of sleep during menstruation. And so just the expectations we have on a daily basis, like I don't make daily goals ever. I never hold like 30-day challenge. Like I don't do those things because it just doesn't make sense. What I do is like, this is what I'm going to be doing in my winter. This is what I'll be doing in my spring. This is what I'll be doing in my summer. And so I definitely make goals. They're just not daily. Mine are more monthly, right?
Hmm.
So if I'm like tracking progress, for example, I won't be tracking progress like, am I doing better today than I was doing yesterday? It'll be more like, am I doing better on day 10 this month than I was doing day 10 last month? Because that's more accurate. Because
Hmm.
it's like, oh, am I producing more in like if it's day to day, it's like it just wouldn't make sense because I'd be like asking, am I producing more fruit in the summer solstice versus the my winter solstice? Like it's not comparable. It would be better to say, am I getting higher yields this summer solstice than last year's summer solstice? Like, so how we're looking at evolution and our progress and our health over time, and our progress in our career and our relationships and our health and our psyche, can all be attributed to how we live and flow with these cycles. And so when it comes to, for me, I think the question more alludes to what is men's responsibility in this
Yes.
process. And I think the responsibility is twofold. It's one to it is to be a support to, people to menstruate in just like understanding what is going on. But that's just like one half of it. I think the big half is to themselves because they're being just as harmed by patriarchy as everybody else. And the yin energy has harmed all of humanity. So there's like an internal healing that I think really needs to happen for a lot of men of reconnecting to the divine feminine, not to like protect the goddess or not to like worship the god, but yes, worship the goddess, but like not in that sense, but in the sense of like truly worshiping the goddess from within of full reverence for their own flesh, their own experience, their emotions, what they're experiencing in Earth, um, and really returning back to back to a deeper understanding of the connection to themselves and their bodies and the earth and all of the cycles. So and also the cycles of the womb and how um how they can embody that and understand that more deeply to have that deep respect for humanity as them being part of, not as like woman other, but like, wow, us humans as a whole are so fucking magical. And really being able to tap back into that as a practice and a spiritual practice and an understanding of their role in that and to be able to really hold that space for themselves and heal that connection to their own um heal their connection to the feminine so that they can also heal their connection to the masculine and um be able to reconnect because I feel like that's where the wounding in the masculine is so big is that disconnection. To be able to really get vulnerable and reconnect and get curious and be able to intimately, emotionally, spiritually, physically connect with the earth, with its cycles, with uh, womb holders and their cycle, and from a place of deep honoring and respect, and not to like get something from, but to connect in service to in a way that's extremely fulfilling and gratifying. So I just think
Hmm.
there's a lot there where that's why the work that I do, it's all gender inclusive. I don't have like women's circles or men's circles. Can, um, I haven't used this term yet in this episode, so I'll caveat the movement and work that I do. I use the term ntopia, and it's the idea is a movement towards returning us to Kant worship, and I'll explain. I might need to explain why I use that term on here somewhere, but um, that's why in Kantopia spaces I tend to move away from segregation by gender because in a matriarchal organization or in a what I feel we are moving towards a comiarchal organization, there's not that segregation by gender. What there is a prioritization of energetic needs. And when you think of regenerative needs, those with the most energy would be at the center, right? So we have like children, elderly, people with disabilities, people who are pregnant, having babies. That would make the most sense for those, their needs to be centered and the society's energy to revolve around that, and from there move outwards. What's happening right now in the capitalist structure is everybody with energetic needs is segregated from the society, and then people in like basically 20 able-bodied, neurotypical people ages 18 through 55 are all segregated away from the children, away from the, everybody with energetic needs, and their energy is being harvested for larger corporations. And then, like, just all of what's left over is left for the people with the most energetic needs, which is just not sustainable, right? And so, putting those with the most energetic needs back into and revolving our care, our attention, our respect for the process that is naturally revolving around the womb, whether or not you have one, is kind of central to having an equitable society, because that's where all life is coming from. And whether you're the steward of that womb or not, whether or not you're the direct steward, the one with the womb, or the one standing next to the person with the womb, we're all equally responsible, right?
Yes.
for that energetic care, right? Um, yeah. And I
Wow.
will say that I've learned a lot about that matriarchal centering from I spoke about that centering of energetic needs. It's a theory I first learned from Mara Sternberg from the womb room, which is another really amazing, another amazing people to talk to, Kiddist and Mara,
Hmm.
from the womb room. So I just wanted to put that in there. Definitely learned a lot from them too, and they have great spaces to deepen that work too.
Wow. So,